Welcome back to the channel Valuable Coins History Coin Lovers. In this video, we'll dive deep into the fascinating history and hidden details of the 2008 Roosevelt Dime, one of America's most collected and widely used coins. Stay tuned till the end, because every coin has a story to tell. Top 5. First up, let's get this started. The Roosevelt Dime is one of the most iconic coins in modern U.S. coinage, and the 2008 Dime represents a continuation of this long tradition. First introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the dime has remained in continuous production ever since. The 2008 issue, struck at the Denver Mint with the D mint mark, is a small but significant piece of American numismatic history. While at first glance it may look like any other dime in circulation, its story is connected to decades of monetary, political, and cultural history. Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, served from 1933 until his death in 1945. He guided the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. Roosevelt was also a strong supporter of the March of Dimes, a campaign to combat polio, the disease that personally affected him. Following his death, the U.S. Treasury and the public felt it was fitting to honor him on the nation's 10-cent piece, both because of his legacy and his association with the dime through the charitable campaign. The Roosevelt Dime was designed by John R. Sinek, chief engraver of the United States Mint. Sinek created both the obverse and the reverse of the coin. The obverse features a left-facing portrait of Roosevelt with the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, the year of issue, and the mint mark, which in case of the 2008 Denver coin is a small d located near the date. Sinek's initials JS are also visible at the base of Roosevelt's neck. The reverse design of the dime, unchanged since 1946, features a torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left for peace, and an oak branch on the right representing strength and independence. Surrounding these symbols is the inscription, United States of America, e pluribus unum, and the denomination 1 dime. This classic design has been admired for its balance and symbolism, and it continues to serve as a reminder of America's values. By 2008, the Roosevelt Dime had already been in circulation for over 6 decades. The coin had undergone material changes since its introduction. From 1946 to 1964, dimes were struck in 90% silver and 10% copper. However, due to the rising price of silver, the U.S. Mint switched to a clad composition in 1965, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The 2008 Roosevelt Dime followed this clad composition. The Denver Mint, where the 2008 dime was produced, has a long history of minting coins for circulation in the western United States. Established in 1906, the Denver facility has produced billions of coins over the years. In 2008, the Mint continued its role as one of the primary facilities striking Roosevelt dimes. The D Mint mark indicates that a dime was struck there, distinguishing it from coins struck in Philadelphia, no mint mark, or San Francisco. Proof issues with S. In terms of mintage, the 2008 dime was produced in massive numbers. The Denver Mint struck over 563 million Roosevelt dimes that year. Such a large mintage ensures that the 2008 dime remains a common coin in circulation and is not rare by any standard. This makes it an affordable piece for collectors, though high-grade mint state examples and error varieties can command higher premiums. Collectors of Roosevelt dimes often seek coins in pristine uncirculated condition, as circulation quickly dulls the luster-clad coinage. The 2008 dime, when found in mint state MS grades such as MS65 or higher, is valued more highly by numismatists. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC with designations such as full bands on the reverse torch are especially desirable, as this indicates that the coin was struck with exceptional detail. Error coins from the 2008 dime series also attract attention. Examples may include off-center strikes, double dies, or coins struck on improperly prepared planchets. These errors are relatively rare compared to the standard mintage, and when found, they can be worth significantly more than face value. Error collecting is a major area of interest within U.S. numismatics, and even a small imperfection can make a 2008 dime valuable to the right buyer. The year 2008 was also significant in American history, as it was a period of economic turmoil. The global financial crisis shook the economy, and the U.S. mints production levels reflected shifting demand for coinage. Despite this, the 2008 Roosevelt Dime remained a staple in everyday commerce. Millions of Americans handled these dimes in their daily transactions, often without realizing the historical and cultural connections embedded in such a small piece of metal. For collectors, the 2008 dime is part of a long series that can be assembled by date and mint mark. Building a complete set of Roosevelt dimes is a rewarding project, especially because the series is still ongoing. The inclusion of the 2008 issue is necessary for a complete modern collection, and because it is inexpensive, it is accessible to both beginners and advanced numismatists. Over the decades, the Roosevelt dime has remained unchanged in design, making the 2008 issue look nearly identical to earlier clad examples. This continuity reflects the stability of U.S. coinage in the modern era. However, some critics argue that the design has become outdated and that newer designs should be considered. Nonetheless, the dime remains a tribute to Roosevelt's enduring legacy and the principles he championed. The circulation of the 2008 dime also represents the way coins function not just as money, but as small historical artifacts. Each dime carries with it the story of its time, the artistry of its designer, the politics of its subject, the technology of its minting, and the economy in which it circulated. For many Americans, the Roosevelt dime is so common that it is overlooked, yet it is one of the most widely used coins in the nation. Though it is not rare or particularly valuable in circulated condition, the 2008 dime can still hold sentimental value. Many people save coins from certain years that correspond to birthdays, anniversaries, or other personal milestones. As such, the dime may serve as a keepsake or token of remembrance, in addition to its monetary role. Looking at the broader picture, the 2008 Roosevelt dime is one of billions of dimes that help tell the story of modern American coinage. While it may never reach the lofty values of rare 19th century coins or low-mintage silver issues, its significance lies in its everyday role. It is a coin of the people, mass-produced, widely used, and tied to a beloved American president. In conclusion, the 2008 Roosevelt dime is far more than just 10 cents. It is part of a legacy that began in 1946 to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt and continues into the 21st century. Its design carries messages of liberty, peace, and strength, while its circulation connects millions of people through everyday commerce. For collectors, historians, and casual observers alike, the 2008 dime is a small but meaningful window into the enduring traditions of American money. Next up, the 2016 Roosevelt dime is part of the long-running Roosevelt Dimes series, which has been minted by the United States since 1946. This series was introduced to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who passed away in April 1945, just months before the end of World War II. Roosevelt's legacy as the 32nd President of the United States was deeply tied to the Great Depression and the war effort, and his image was selected for the dime in recognition of his leadership and his personal connection to the March of Dimes campaign, which raised funds to fight polio. The 2016 Roosevelt dime continues this legacy with the same basic design that has appeared on the coin for decades. The obverse, designed by John R. Cynic, features a left-facing portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt. Surrounding the portrait are the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, the year 2016, and the mint mark D, which indicates that this particular dime was struck at the Denver Mint. Cynic's initial JS can also be found at the base of Roosevelt's neck. On the reverse, the dime carries a design symbolic of freedom and strength. The central element is a torch, representing liberty. Flanking the torch are an olive branch on the left, symbolizing peace, and an oak branch on the right, representing strength and independence. Around the design are the inscriptions United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and the denomination 1 dime. This reverse has remained virtually unchanged since its introduction in 1946, making it one of the most enduring designs in U.S. coinage. The 2016 dime was struck at the Denver Mint in Colorado, one of the major production facilities of a U.S. mint. Coins bearing the D mint mark are distributed widely across the western and central United States. Alongside Denver, dimes were also produced in Philadelphia with a P mint mark, and in San Francisco for proof sets with an S mint mark. The Denver Mint has a long tradition of producing circulation coinage in large quantities, and the 2016 dimes were no exception. In terms of mintage, the 2016 D Roosevelt dime had a very high production run, reflecting its role as a staple coin in everyday commerce. Hundreds of millions of these dimes were struck, making them readily available to the public. As a result, most examples found in circulation hold only face value, though uncirculated and proof-like examples may appeal to collectors who enjoy building date and mint mark sets of the Roosevelt Dime series. From a composition standpoint, the 2016 D dime follows the same specifications established for circulating dimes since 1965. The coin is a clad composition of copper and nickel, with an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This gives the dime its familiar silvery appearance, though unlike earlier dimes minted before 1965, it contains no silver. The coin weighs 2.27 grams, has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, and features a reeded edge. Collectors often evaluate coins like the 2016 D dime based on their strike quality, luster, and overall preservation. While circulated examples are extremely common, high-grade uncirculated examples can be of interest to numismatists. Coins graded mint state MS67 or higher by professional grading services, such as PGS or NGC, may command a premium due to their rarity in such condition, even though the series as a whole is common. Another important factor for collectors is the possibility of mint errors. Although most 2016 D dimes were struck properly, a small number may exhibit errors, such as off-center strikes, die cracks, double dies, or other unusual minting anomalies. Such error coins are highly sought after by collectors, as they represent unique deviations from the standard production process and can add significant value to an otherwise ordinary coin. The Roosevelt Dime series, including the 2016 D issue, has long been considered a workhorse of American coinage. Unlike larger denominations such as quarters or half dollars, the dime's small size makes it an essential unit for commerce, vending machines, and banking. Its durability and resistance to wear, thanks to its copper-nickel composition, ensure that even heavily circulated examples can remain in use for decades without becoming unrecognizable. Historically, the decision to place Roosevelt on the dime was also symbolic. Roosevelt himself had been a victim of polio, a disease that left him paralyzed from the waist down. His support of the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis, which later became the March of Dimes, directly tied him to the denomination. This made the dime an especially fitting tribute, connecting his personal struggles with a broader national movement for public health and medical research. In the context of U.S. numismatic history, the 2016 D dime represents continuity. While many other denominations have undergone design changes in the 21st century, such as the State Quarters Program or the Presidential Dollar Series, the Roosevelt dime has remained largely unchanged for 70 years. Its design consistency is both a strength and a challenge for collectors, as it requires an appreciation for subtle variations such as mint marks, strike quality, and condition rather than dramatic design changes. The Denver Mint itself, which produced the 2016 D dime, has been in operation since 1906. Known for its massive output, the facility has supplied billions of coins annually for circulation. Its mint mark, D, has appeared on countless coins across multiple denominations. For collectors, Denver issues often represent a critical part of completing a full set of Roosevelt dimes from all mints. While the 2016 D dime is generally regarded as a common modern coin, its role in U.S. coinage should not be underestimated. Every coin reflects a piece of history, and the Roosevelt dime tells the story of a president, a health crisis, and a nation's resilience. Even though most examples will never be worth more than 10 cents, they still embody the artistry and symbolism of American numismatics. In higher grades, such as those preserved in mint sets or rolls directly from the U.S. Mint, the 2016 D dime offers collectors an affordable way to obtain pristine coins. These coins may display full strike details, strong luster, and minimal contact marks, qualities that are increasingly appreciated by specialists in modern coinage. For those who enjoy searching through change, finding a bright, nearly flawless 2016 D dime can still be rewarding. Overall, the 2016 D Roosevelt dime is a coin of great historical continuity, linking back to a pivotal moment in American history when the country sought to honor one of its most influential presidents. It carries the same symbolism of liberty, peace, and strength that has defined the dime since 1946, while also representing the vast production capabilities of the Denver Mint. Though common in circulation, it remains a vital part of the American coinage system. Finally, when viewed in the broader context of collecting, the 2016 D dime is a reminder that not all valuable coins are rare or expensive. Sometimes, their value lies in the story they tell, the president they honor, and the millions of lives they touch through history. Whether sitting in a pocket, resting in a collector's album, or preserved in a mint-sealed package, the 2016 D dime continues to circulate Roosevelt's legacy to this very day. Next up, the 1965 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark is a fascinating piece of American coinage, primarily because it came during a major turning point in U.S. monetary history. Before 1965, dimes were made from 90% silver and 10% copper, but in 1965, the U.S. Mint officially transitioned away from silver coinage due to rising silver prices and public hoarding. The change marked the beginning of the clad era, where coins are produced using copper-nickel clad composition instead of precious metals. The 1965 Roosevelt dime represents this dramatic shift. President Franklin D. Roosevelt had been honored on the dime since 1946, following his death in 1945. The design by Chief Engraver John R. Sinek remained unchanged in 1965, but what changed was the material. From 1965 onward, the dime was composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, producing a total weight of 2.27 grams and a diameter of 17.9 millimeters. This ensured the dime kept its familiar look and feel, even though silver was no longer used. One important detail is that the 1965 Roosevelt dime carries no mint mark at all. At that time, mint marks were deliberately omitted from all U.S. coins dated 1965, 1966, and 1967. This was done to discourage coin collectors and hoarders from removing coins from circulation during a national coin shortage. The government wanted people to focus on using coins in daily commerce rather than collecting them, and so the mint mark was temporarily removed. The 1965 Roosevelt dime was struck exclusively at the Philadelphia Mint, which explains the absence of a mint mark. Normally, dimes from Philadelphia before 1980 had no mint mark anyway. But in 1965, this rule applied to all coins nationwide, including those produced at Denver and San Francisco. The uniform absence of mint marks during these years was unique and makes coins from this period easy to identify. The year 1965 saw an enormous mintage of Roosevelt dimes. Over 1.65 billion dimes were struck, making it one of the highest mintages in U.S. history at that time. This massive production was meant to counteract the widespread coin shortage that had been troubling the U.S. economy in the early 1960s. People were hoarding silver coins, causing a lack of change for everyday transactions. By producing billions of clad dimes, the mint ensured commerce could flow smoothly again. The design of a 1965 dime continued to feature the left-facing portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, with the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date 1965. On the reverse side, the traditional torch, olive branch, and oak branch remained as symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. The inscriptions United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and one dime completed the design. Even though the composition changed, the U.S. Mint ensured that the new copper-nickel clad dimes were the same size and weight as the older silver dimes. This way, the new coins would still be used interchangeably in vending machines, slot machines, and other coin-operated devices. The smooth transition helped the public adjust to the new coinage system without disruption. The switch from silver to clad coins was not without controversy. Many Americans disliked the fact that their coins no longer contained silver, which was historically viewed as more valuable. Collectors rushed to save pre-1965 silver dimes, quarters, and half dollars. As a result, today, 1964 and earlier dimes are worth their silver content, while 1965 and later dimes are generally worth face value, unless they have special varieties or errors. The 1965 Roosevelt dime is most famous for a unique minting error, the 1965 silver dime transitional error. During the changeover from silver to clad coinage, a small number of 1,965 dimes were accidentally struck on leftover 90% silver planchets intended for 1964 coins. These rare transitional error dimes look nearly identical to normal clad dimes, but weigh slightly more, 2.50 grams instead of 2.27 grams. They are highly valuable today, often selling for thousands of dollars at auction. Because mint marks were omitted during this period, collectors cannot distinguish where the 1965 dime was struck. However, all regular 1965 dimes were made in Philadelphia. Proof coins for 1965 were also unique. Instead of traditional proof sets, the mint released special mint sets SMS for 1965 to 1967. These sets had a higher quality finish than circulation strikes, but were not true proofs. The 1965 SMS dime is another collectible variety that appeals to numismatists. The special mint set dimes from 1965 were produced in San Francisco, though they bore no mint mark. The SMS coins often show sharper strikes and smoother surfaces than regular circulation dimes, making them desirable for collectors. High-grade SMS dimes can command premium prices, especially if they exhibit cameo contrast between frosted designs and mirrored fields. Most circulated 1965 Roosevelt dimes are only worth face value today due to their extremely high mintage. Billions were made, and most remain in circulation. However, condition plays a role in collectability. Uncirculated examples in mint state, MS65 or higher, can be worth slightly more to collectors, especially when certified by grading services like PGS or NGC. High-grade 1965 Roosevelt dimes from the special mint sets are even more sought after. Examples with deep cameo contrast can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on their condition and rarity. The most expensive are the transitional silver error coins, which stand out as one of the most significant minting mistakes of the 20th century. The 1965 Roosevelt dime also reflects a broader economic shift in the United States. Rising silver prices meant that the intrinsic value of coins was approaching or even surpassing their face value. If the mint had continued striking silver coins, people would have melted them for profit. By introducing clad coinage, the government preserved the function of coins in everyday commerce. Collectors of Roosevelt dimes often view the 1965 no mint mark dime as a milestone in U.S. coinage. It symbolizes the end of the silver era and the beginning of modern clad coinage. While most 1965 dimes are common, the existence of SMS varieties and silver transitional errors ensures that this year remains of great interest to numismatists. In conclusion, the 1965 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark is historically significant, not because of its rarity in normal circulation, but because it marked a new era in American coinage. With over $1 billion struck, it is one of the most common dimes ever made, yet its story includes dramatic economic changes, collector controversies, and rare errors that make it unforgettable. For collectors, the 1965 dime stands as a symbol of both change and continuity in the long history of U.S. coinage. Next up, the 1995 D. Roosevelt dime is part of the long-running Roosevelt Dime series, first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Roosevelt was deeply admired by the American people, particularly for his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, as well as his strong support of the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio. His death in April 1945 inspired the U.S. Mint to place his portrait on the dime, and the design has been in continuous use ever since. By 1995, the Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for nearly 50 years. The Denver Mint, which struck the 1995 D dime, played a vital role in ensuring enough coins were produced to meet the needs of commerce. The Denver facility has been one of the most productive mints in U.S. history, often producing higher mintages than the Philadelphia Mint. For the 1995 D dime, billions were struck, making it a common issue, yet still an important piece for collectors. The obverse of the 1995 D Roosevelt dime features a left-facing portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the United States Mint. Above his portrait, the word liberty appears, while the motto, "In God We Trust," is positioned to the left. Below the neck truncation is the designer's initials, JS, a small but historically significant detail that initially caused some controversy in 1946, as some mistook the initials for those of Joseph Stalin. The reverse design is equally symbolic, featuring a lit torch at the center representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch symbolizing peace on the left and an oak branch symbolizing strength and independence on the right. The inscriptions include United States of America and the denomination 1 dime, along with the national motto, E pluribus unum. This reverse design has remained unchanged since 1946, making it one of the most enduring designs in U.S. coinage. The 1995 D Roosevelt dime was struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition, which became the standard for all U.S. dimes after the Coinage Act of 1965. Each coin consists of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The coin has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, a thickness of 1.35 millimeters, and a weight of 2.27 grams. Its reeded edge helps deter counterfeiting and prevents shaving off small amounts of precious metal, a holdover tradition from the days when dimes contained silver. The 1995 D dime is distinguished by the D mint mark, located on the obverse just above the date. This mint mark indicates that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint in Colorado. The placement of mint marks on U.S. coins has varied over time, but since the Roosevelt dime's inception, they have been consistently placed on the obverse near the date. In terms of mintage, the 1995 D dime had a production run of over 1.1 billion coins, making it widely available in circulation. Such a high mintage ensures that the coin is very common in circulated grades, often found in pocket change even today. However, for collectors seeking pristine, high-grade examples, only carefully preserved coins or those from mint sets and rolls are desirable. The Denver Mint in 1995 was using modern high-speed coin presses and advanced technology, which helped maintain consistent quality in coinage. Nonetheless, as with all mass-produced coins, some error coins were created. Collectors sometimes seek varieties such as off-center strikes, double dies, and other striking errors, which can add considerable value to an otherwise common coin. One of the reasons collectors still pursue coins like the 1995 D dime is to complete full Roosevelt dime date and mint mark sets. Many collectors enjoy assembling complete runs of these coins from 1946 to present, and even though the 1995 D itself is common, it is an essential piece of the overall series. For general circulation, the 1995 D dime carried very little premium value due to its enormous mintage and availability. However, uncirculated and proof versions, particularly those with high-quality strikes and full torch details on the reverse, a condition known as full bands, can command higher prices in the collector market. Grading services like PCGS and NGC often certify these coins, and high-grade examples can sell for many times their face value. The 1990s were a transitional period for U.S. coinage, with the mint preparing for upcoming series like the State Quarters, introduced in 1999. The Roosevelt dime, however, remained unchanged, serving as a reminder of post-World War II America and Roosevelt's lasting legacy. The 1995 D dime thus represents stability during a period of change in U.S. coinage history. Though not made of silver, the coin is still linked historically to the earlier silver dimes that were produced from 1946 to 1964. Collectors often categorize Roosevelt dimes into two broad groups: the silver issues, 1946 to 1964, and the clad issues, 1965 present. The 1995 D belongs to the clad era, and while not intrinsically valuable in metal content, its historical and numismatic interest continues to make it collectible. The wear patterns on circulated 1995 D dimes also tell stories of everyday American life. These coins pass through millions of hands, being used for small purchases, parking meters, payphones, and vending machines. In this way, each dime has contributed in its own small way to the economic fabric of the United States. Beyond its circulation role, the 1995 D-dime also exists in mint sets and other collector products offered by the U.S. Mint that year. These specially packaged coins were struck with better quality and preserved for numismatists, often exhibiting sharper details and fewer blemishes compared to circulation strikes. While the coin itself may not carry extraordinary monetary value in average condition, it symbolizes an era of American coinage dedicated to honoring a president who reshaped the nation during some of its most challenging times. The dime's continued use of Roosevelt's portrait speaks to his enduring popularity and the respect he commands in American history. In summary, the 1995 D. Roosevelt dime is a small but important piece of U.S. numismatic history. Struck in the billions, it is a common coin, but it carries with it the legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the craftsmanship of John R. Cynic, and the story of America in the 1990s. Collectors value it as part of the larger Roosevelt dime series, and while it may only be worth face value in circulation, its true worth lies in its connection to history and its role in the continuing saga of American coinage. Next up, the 1996 P. Roosevelt dime is one of the most important coins of the late 20th century in American numismatic history. Struck in 1996 at the Philadelphia Mint, it represents the 50th anniversary of the Roosevelt Dimes series, which was first issued in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt. This particular year was especially significant because it was not just another circulating dime. It carried with the weight of half a century a tribute to one of America's most influential leaders, Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, served 4 terms in office and is remembered for guiding the nation through the Great Depression and most of World War II. After his death in 1945, the nation sought to honor him with a new coin. The dime was chosen because of Roosevelt's close association with the March of Dimes campaign, which fought polio, the disease that afflicted him throughout his life. Thus, the Roosevelt dime became a lasting national memorial. By 1996, the Roosevelt dime design had already seen 50 years of circulation. The obverse continued to display the left-facing portrait of Roosevelt designed by John R. Cynic, the U.S. Mint's chief engraver in 1946. The design remained relatively unchanged, with Roosevelt's profile surrounded by the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," the date 1996, and the mint mark P located just above the year. This small letter indicated it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. On the reverse, the design also followed a familiar pattern by Cynic, a torch in the center symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. The inscriptions include a United States of America, the denomination 1 dime, and the national motto E pluribus unum. For over half a century, this simple yet powerful imagery remained unchanged, representing the nation's ideals. What made the 1996 P dime stand out historically was its place in a special numismatic celebration. To commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Roosevelt Dime series, the U.S. Mint released a special collector's edition dime from the West Point Mint in 1996 with a W Mint mark. However, the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco Mints continued their regular production. The 1996 P was part of the standard circulation issue, yet collectors often connect it with this anniversary year because of the unique W dime companion. In terms of composition, the 1996 P dime was a clad coin, not silver. Since 1965, U.S. dimes have been made of a copper-nickel sandwich, 91.67% copper, and 8.33% nickel on the outer layers, bonded to a pure copper core. This shift away from silver was due to rising silver prices in the 1960s. Thus, the 1996 dime was part of the modern clad era, not the older silver era, 1946 to 1964. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of these dimes in 1996. Exact mintage numbers reach well above 1.4 billion, ensuring that the 1996 P dime was common in circulation. This made it accessible to the general public, and most examples found today have been used in everyday commerce. Still, uncirculated or proof-like specimens are sought after by collectors who want pristine examples. The dime's continued stability in design demonstrates America's tendency to preserve successful coinage imagery. While quarters, half dollars, and dollars often change designs for commemorative or political reasons, the Roosevelt dime remained untouched. This stability made the 1996p dime a straightforward continuation of tradition, yet also became part of a significant milestone year. In circulation, the 1996p dime looked like any ordinary coin to most Americans. Millions of people spent them daily without realizing their connection to the 50th anniversary. Yet, numismatists recognized its importance and began preserving high-quality examples for future collections. Those who acquire mint sets from 1996 obtained coins in gem condition, which remain valuable today. The Philadelphia Mint, where this coin was struck, is one of the oldest and most important minting facilities in the U.S., founded in 1792. By 1996, the facility was striking billions of coins annually for commerce. The P mint mark on the dime had only been in use since 1980. Before that, Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark. Thus, the 1996 dime proudly bore the P, reflecting a modern convention in American coinage. One unique aspect of the 1996 Roosevelt dime year was a collector attention it drew due to the West Point W dime. Although the 1996p dime was much more common, collectors often sought to assemble full 1996 sets containing Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco proof, and West Point examples. This context elevated the 1996p dime from being just another circulation issue to being part of a historic collector's year. Condition plays a huge role in value. Circulated 1996p dimes are worth face value, 10 cents, since so many were made. However, uncirculated and high-grade specimens, graded MS-66 or higher, command higher prices among collectors, sometimes several dollars. Exceptional specimens with deep luster and no contact marks can bring even more. The coin's value lies not in rarity, but in quality. Over time, errors and varieties of the 1996 dime also gain collector attention. Mis-strikes, off-center strikes, double dies, and clip planchets can make an ordinary dime far more valuable. Collectors often check their 1996 dimes carefully to see if they have one of these error coins, which can sell for much more than face value. For historians, the 1996p dime symbolizes both continuity and celebration. It was a continuation of the Roosevelt Dimes' 50-year legacy, a coin Americans trusted and used without hesitation. At the same time, it marked a milestone anniversary, tying together the historical memory of Roosevelt's presidency with the modern coinage system of the late 20th century. Even today, nearly 3 decades later, the 1996p dime remains common in circulation. Yet for coin collectors, it carries an extra dimension of meaning because of its anniversary year. Many people alive in 1996 can remember handling these dimes fresh from the mint, not realizing they were touching a small piece of American history tied to one of its most beloved presidents. In conclusion, the 1996p Roosevelt dime is not rare, but it is deeply significant. It represents the enduring legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the continuation of Sinek's simple yet powerful design, and the role of the dime in everyday American life. While most examples remain ordinary, pristine collector specimens, era varieties, and the special context of the 50th anniversary ensure that the 1996p dime will always hold an honored place in the story of U.S. coinage.